In the previous video, I showed you a simple example of importing a contract and then calling a peer function from that contract. But what happens if the contract that we want to import has some state variables? Well, in this case, then we'll need to take some extra steps so that we can use that contract. For example, here I have a contract that does authorization. It sets the owner to message sender when the contract is deployed, and it has one external function called setOwner. Checks that message sender is the current owner, and then sets the state variable owner to the new owner passed from the input. Authorization is a common code that you want to implement inside a lot of the contracts. And let's say that I want to reuse the functions checkOwner and setOwner. So how would we be able to do this? For example, here I have a contract called example, and inside here has a single state variable called mynum and has a function called setMynum. And I want to be able to make sure that only the current owner of the contract can set mynum. So here I want to implement authorization, and let's also say that maybe I want to get the state variable owner. So here I have a function called getOwner, which will read the current state variable called owner. And of course, you can copy all of the code inside here and then paste it inside here. But the point of this video is to be able to reuse that code. So I'm going to import that contract and then reuse the code without copying and pasting the code inside here. First, we'll need to import the contract. Notice that the contract is in the same folder. Here we have example.by and here we have alt.by. So inside here, we'll first import the alt contract, import alt. So far, this is the same as the previous video where I showed you how to import a simple contract without any state variables. Now, since the alt contract has state variables, we need to take some extra steps. One of them being, we need to declare what contract we're going to be initializing. This is done by declaring that the alt contract will be initialized. Initializes, and then saying alt. Here we're declaring that the alt contract will be initialized inside this contract. So you'll need to call alt.init inside our constructor. Def init, and then say alt.__init. Okay, next, let's implement authorization. Inside the alt contract, we want to be able to call the function checkOwner in our example contract. So to do that, we'll say alt.checkOwner. We're now reusing the code inside the alt contract to do authorization. Okay, how do we read the state variable called owner stored in the alt contract? To do this, all you have to do is say return alt.owner. Okay, let's try compiling the contract. Say Vyper, and the contract that we're going to compile is called example.by. Okay, if the contract compiles successfully, you'll see a long hexadecimal string. And if you wanted to see the ABI for this, we can say Vyper-f ABI, and this will print out the ABI for this contract. Now this is a little bit difficult to see, so what I'm going to do next is pipe the output to a handy library that will parse the JSON, show it in a more readable way. The tool that I'm going to use is called JQ. And here is the ABI. You'll notice that the functions that are exported are mynum, getOwner, and setMynum. However, let's go back to our contract. What if we wanted to also export the setOwner and maybe the owner state variable? How will we be able to do that? Well, we can do this by going to the top and then over here, declaring what functions we're going to export from the alt contract. For example, say exports. We want to export the alt.setOwner, so say alt.setOwner. And we also want to export alt.owner. Okay, let's try compiling the contract again. And this time, let's check that the function setOwner and owners are exported. So you see over here that the owner state variable is exported as a function, and then we have the function setOwner also exported.